And the legend that is Carl Boyes is alongside me for this one. And Woodward looking to bounce back after that defeat earlier against Shane Van Bonen, who really finished so strongly against him.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. So we're going to get to see Alexander Kazakis, the Whirlpool Masters champion, gets his event underway.
Been a Mosconi Cup player in the past, Kazakis. Only played in 2, but they happen to be the only 2 out of the last 12 that Europe have lost in 2018 and 19. Lost crucial final night singles matches against Shane Van Bonen, and both of those, as you say, he is the World Masters champion. Beat Van Bonen 9-0 in the final of that, would you believe?
Yeah, the table's definitely breaking a lot easier now. You could see the green 6 ball go straight into the corner.
Yeah, a few of the early matches today were a bit of a slog, weren't they? But as you say, the players are getting to grips with it now in terms of the breaking. And so I think we'll see a very different sort of action this evening, as indeed we did, I think, towards the end of the early session.
So I don't believe this 1 ball passes the blue 2, so he's going to be playing safe. And he needs the cue ball to travel. He's trying to use that 7 or the 3 as a blocker. And I think he's left a pot here for Skyler. Not an easy pot. Probably would help Skyler if the yellow 1 ball is actually frozen on the rail. He wants to be a little bit careful with the cue ball, because on a brand new cloth this would slide up towards that top right hand pocket. And that's why he played it a little bit harder. Wasn't easy, but it is a mistake.
When Jason Shaw was in here earlier, he was saying that anything played at pace into these pockets is very tough. Alex Kazakis, now 30 years of age. He's at number 12 in the new world ranking system. Did win the World Masters. Nothing really to write home about in the other standout events of 2021. But he had a couple of good performances on the Euro Tour towards the end of the year. Almost won one of them actually in Slovenia. Lost 9-8 to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Had a good win over Joshua Filler along the way. And they were race to 9s, those matches, so the results were meaningful.
Yeah, he's kind of turned his game round a little bit, because there was a stage of his career where he was known as, well, a little bit of a twitcher. You know, whenever you drew him in a tournament, you always felt like you were going to get opportunities because he was prone to missing silly balls. But one thing that he does possess is great work ethic. He puts a lot of time in on the table, travels all over the world. And of course, he got that big win last year at the Masters.
Yeah, and didn't he celebrate in style in the arena? And so Alex Kazakis' first rack in this Predator Premier League is a winning one. He leads Skyler Woodward 1-0. It's also 1-0 on the other table for Naoki Oi against David Al-Kaidi. As you can see, Al-Kaidi very swiftly with a chance to level things up. Whoever wins that one will be the first player to get to 3 wins. And it will be interesting to see how many of the 15 matches you'll need to win to get through. Might only be 5 or 6, depends how it plays out. So if you've got 3 on the board already, it's a very nice position to be in. It's the last match of the day for both of these players. But that opportunity has gone by, and Al-Kaidi gesturing as if he caught something on his shirt with his cue there, and that was what caused him to miss.
Yeah, I think the logo stuck to his cue as he delivered the cue through. Unless it's from page 2 of Book of Excuses, Michael.
You wouldn't know anything about that book, Carl. Your career was too good to ever need any excuses.
Well, I think I wrote the book.
Shouldn't refer to your career in the past tense, of course, because you had some good results yourself from the limited activity you did have in 2021.
Once again, the wing ball goes in the pocket. And Skyler's got a thin look at this one ball. Got to be careful with the cue ball, though. It's going to be flying up and down the table. Needs it to slow down. Maybe he's trying to play half ball off the 9 there. Now he has landed quite nice on the bank shot. He can play the bank into the left centre, or he can play safe. I think you've got to go with the bank shot, especially where the red 3 is. But there you see he catches the far jaw. And more bad news, he's left Kazakis a real nice opportunity to take rack 2. This 2 ball has come. It's absolutely perfect.
Let's just look at that error from Woodward. Didn't really get that close to making it. When Kazakis won the World Masters last summer, Woodward was one of his opponents along the way. Comfortable win in the quarter-final. 7 racks to 3, and then went on to beat Eklund Kachi in a hill-hill finish, and then, of course, that remarkably one-sided win over Van Bonin in the final. That's one thing about the World Masters. You're never going to get an easy route through it. So there mightn't be that many matches to be played to win the title. Pretty much all going to be very tough ones.
Would have loved the cue ball to have been another foot higher. But he should still be able to manage this. Looks like he's going to spin the cue ball around off 3 rails. Yeah, that's fine. This is the dream start for Kazakis.
Yeah, he's been waiting around all day to get started, been working away on the practice tables. And it looks as though, so far, it's all to good avail because he leads Skyler Woodward 2-0. Let's hear from the World Masters champion, Alex Kazakis.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling really happy, to be honest. I didn't expect to win this last event because, you know, there were so many good players. It's so tough format, races to 4 and the shootout in the end. But yeah, somehow in the end, I win it. So I have also to change the ticket and just arrive here in the morning like a couple of hours before. So right now I'm really tired, but at the same time I'm really happy.
Yeah, he's referring to a tournament he's just won over in America, just before coming here. And it's such an active scene once again now. So many tournaments, big and small, going on all over the world. It's such a busy schedule in the States. And these guys go round and play in events that may not get quite the same attention as others, but they're very strong fields and they're very difficult to win. And Kazakis proved that once again by winning the Wisconsin Open.
Well, there's a few balls gone down here. 3 balls he's made, but he doesn't have a shot on that 1 ball, so he's going to be playing a push.
Now, Yuki always zipping along on the other table. He's 2-0 up now against David Al-Kaidi, and he's closing in on making that 3. If he wins the match, he'll make it 3 in another sense, because it would be his 3rd win.
Push shot called. Skyler option.
Well, he's left him a teaser here. He can bank it into the top left corner. And Skyler is known for cutting these balls up the rail. It is not easy, but it is on. There you see with the overhead, it's very, very thin. I think he's playing the bank. Could even cross, bank it into the side. But he's played it in the corner. Cue ball just lacked a little bit of pace. He was trying to play for the blue 2 in the same pocket as the 1 ball. But it does look like there's another bank shot available. So he's playing this into the bottom right pocket now. Well, a couple of bank shots.
Yeah, his big mate Billy Thorpe, of course, is renowned for his ability with the bank shots. He'd have been proud of this effort, 2 in a row.
Well, now he's got to pot a long ball, though. You've got to cue these well. He can't afford to catch any of the right-hand side rail. Job well done. This is a nice rack, this. Kazakis left him a teaser. Sometimes you've got to do that. And he's took these well.
Yeah, showing the full range of shots, as he's had to do. This was far from straightforward when he came to the table. 2-0 down with his opponent breaking. Would have been fearing the worst in some respects. But now he'll be breaking with a chance to draw level because Skyler Woodward has closed to 2-1 down. Night one of the Predator Premier League here in Milton Keynes, and Skyler Woodward has just closed to 2-1 down against Alex Kazakis, and he's got the break in rack 4.
Cue ball got kicked up table. Now he can see this blue 2. He can pot it in the corner, but can he get back up towards the top end of the table for the red 3? 9 ball looks like it's going to cause him some issues. He might have to try and stun this ball in with loads of right-hand English and spin 3 rails, but that is a horrible shot to be faced with, so could play safe, could just bank the 2 ball back up towards where the cue ball is and leave the cue ball on the bottom rail, but looks like he's going to attack at this. Not for Skyler. Needs that 2 ball to travel, and I don't think that's any good.
David Arcady is off the mark on the other table. 3-0 down against Noyuki Oi, but he's just raced through the 4th rack.
Been a little bit fortunate there as Kazakis didn't hide the 2 ball, so the 2 ball come out near the pocket, but luckily the cue ball has gone behind the 9. He was trying to get the 2 ball
Extension, please.
in line with where the red 3 is. Now I expect Skyler to go close to potting this ball. Controlling the cue ball is not going to be easy. And he's missed it by a long way in the end. Is he going to get a little bit of fortune? He isn't. Nice shot, just used the edge of the 9 there to help get the right angle.
It's been around a while now, Kazakis. It was about 7 years ago. He started to have a series of good showings in various tournaments. 2016 was a big moment for him. He won the Kremlin Cup 10-ball event, pulled away towards the end to beat Torsten Homan, and he's been in or around the top players since then, ever present really, and the level just below the very best. World quarterfinals as long ago as 2016, and ran Shane Van Boning very close actually in that quarterfinal. So nearly won the World Masters 2019, 5-0 up in the final. Let's have a look at what Skyler Woodward had to say in his facial expression from his last shot. Tends to wear his heart in his sleeve. And what it's all going to amount to is a 3-1 lead for Kazakis. And he'll be breaking in the next rack. So frustrating day so far for Woodward, continuing here. So much coming up this year, part of an expanded calendar. Just look at all this we have ahead. This is all tied in with the new ranking system. Not all of these events are ranking events. This one, for example, is a non-ranking tournament, very elite field. But you can see it's not just the Matchroom 9-ball events. There are events in America, Euro Tour events, all being incorporated into this new world ranking system. And some of the highlights of the year, you look at the UK Open there, that's going to be a new event in late May in London. That's a fantastic addition to the calendar. So is the European Open, very similar format, in November. And that will be just before the Mosconi Cup. And it will be after the European Open that we get the first official points-based world ranking list. Until then, the committee-based system will stay in place. And then, of course, you've got the other highlights. World Championship a bit earlier in the year, this year, than it was last time round. It will be in April. And, of course, the US Open in October in Atlantic City. So much variety as well. You've got things like the World Cup. Alex Kazakis will surely be there playing for Greece. So lots to look forward to. And this really is just the beginning of a packed 2022. Kazakis going well here.
Can he bank this 1-ball past the 8-ball? That's what I was having a quick look at. The break has definitely got a little bit easier now. All the players can relax. They know the wing ball's going to fly in that corner. So you can put all your effort into a good cue ball control.
Yeah, Kazakis has potted at least 2 balls off each of his 3 break-off shots so far.
Yeah, that was nice. Used the 6-ball to hold the cue ball for position for the 3.
Just as we look at that expanded calendar, Carl, you any plans to be playing this year? You took part in a few events last year and had some success.
Well, I was more Cal the COVID player, wasn't I? I wasn't intending to play, but...
But now that you've been back in, obviously did so well in the World Cup, has it given you any thoughts of maybe trying out 1 or 2 events?
Well, I'd happily keep playing in the World Cup. That was always one of my favourite events. I just always loved the format, and I've always liked kind of team environments, you know, events and stuff like that. So, if Emily's listening, I won't say no to that, of course, but I might play in a few of the odd little events just to get the old back arm going, but I think I'd miss you too much, Michael, sat in here. Doesn't want to be straight on this 8-ball. Being straight would cause a few small issues. If he had an angle, he could have just stunned this ball in and played the 8 into the top right. Now he's got to draw back for the 8 in the side. And if he lands low on the 8, that's going to cause more drama. Oh, he's landed perfect. Cued that nicely.
You've referred earlier, Carl, to the fact that Kazakis has had struggles during his career at times, killing things off, but we know how talented he is, what an accomplished player he can be. And he's showing us that early on here, and didn't you know it, just as I start saying that, he goes and misses that 8-ball.
Yeah, we're just queuing down on the 8, trying to just create that angle to get on the 9, and he's just pushed the 8 onto the far jaw. He's been a little bit fortunate to leave Skyler this, but I'm sure if you were Skyler, you'd take a shot at the bank shot. Cue ball will come round as long as he pots the 8. He's playing the 8 in the pocket, bottom left. It's close. It's close and it's there.
Let's have a look at that 8-ball that was missed by Kazakis once again. He was queuing down on it, as you say, but you still would have fancied him all day long to make that one. What a turning point it could be now.
Yeah, Skyler's not quite landed on this 9 how he would have wanted. So can he pot it in the side or the corner? Is he playing a bank? Probably playing a bank into the left centre. And it's there. 2 banks to steal the rack from Kazakis.
Just moments ago, it looked like he was going 4-1 down, instead of which he now trails only 3-2, and he'll be breaking in the next rack. So this one's still very much in the balance. Over on the other table, Noyuki Oi is leading David Al-Kaidi 4-1. As you see, Al-Kaidi in a bit of trouble here. This could be the match. Well, he's managed to make contact. Got a shot at the 5, but obviously the 6 is a bit tied up. Oh, it lost his opening match against Joshua Filler. First on, in fact, on that table this morning. Seems a long time ago now, though, because since then, he's had a couple of wins and looking very well placed for another one here. Look at that, just keeping the pressure on Al-Kaidi, asking further questions of him.
Rack 6. Skyler Woodward to break.
Yeah, we've alluded to the fact
Training
that
free.
you're going to get plenty of matches. So it's not essential if you lose, but you want to get a good rhythm going, don't you? You know, there's nothing like winning pool matches. That gives you more confidence. If you're on a bit of a losing streak, winning matches is gonna feel a little bit harder.
Start the clock, please.
Skyler scratches on the break. It did get kicked, but it was going straight in, so you have to mark that one down as a poor break shot.
Yeah, and you see it once again there, how just one shot can turn it all around. Now Kazakis is suddenly favourite to go 4-2 in front, and then he'll be breaking in the next rack. When you have the alternate break system, it really underlines how much the whole thing can swing one way to the other in just one moment.
Extension, please.
Yuki Oi is now on the 7, so potentially 3 balls away from completing a 5-1 win over David Al-Kaidi. Here you can see what he's got left. Looks to have done most of the hard work. And now he's going to have a simple 9. So really good win this for Oi, and he's going to finish the day with 3 wins out of 4. Yeah, and that's a very impressive result to see off Al-Kaidi so comfortably in the end. And the man from Japan has already made a lot of progress towards securing his place in the second phase. Meanwhile, back here, Alex Kazakis. Still just a little bit of work to do. Jason Shaw and Oliver Sholnocki will be next up over on that other table.
If you want to watch Jason and Oliver, you can check that match out at matchroom.live.
Yeah, all the matches on table 2 will be streaming there throughout the week.
So with ball in hand, Kazakis has done a nice job here to get himself on the hill.
Alex Kazakis wins the rack.
And he will be breaking at 4-2 in front when we return.
37th break.
Welcome back. We're in Milton Keynes, and Alex Kazakis is on the hill. He's leading Skyler Woodward by 4 racks to 2, and he'll be starting us off again in the rack which he hopes will be the one to take him across the line. So again, he's made multiple balls off the break, but this time he's scratched.
4 balls he's made on the break.
Yeah.
5 with the cue ball.
So not many balls left on the table for Woodward to pot. He was looking a little anxiously there for a moment, wondering if he'd maybe stitched himself behind the 8, but absolutely fine. And this looks like being an extremely short rack. Not as short, of course, as the one he lost to Shane Van Bonen earlier with the golden break. And again, it all just swings once more. It looks like it's going 4-3, and now Woodward with the break, but crucially, of course, if it was to go hill-hill, Kazakis would have the break in that deciding rack. Oh, but hang about. This isn't in yet.
Yeah, he's took his eye off the game there. He had a simple finish, one of the easiest finishes you'll see all week. And now he's faced with a thin cut to the bottom left.
Yeah, nicely recovered, although not a million miles away from scratching there. So back to 4-3. We'll return there in just a moment, but let's have a look in next door. I think Jason Shaw's been around long enough for us to call this a clash of the pool generations. Well-established star, MVP at the last 2 Mosconi Cups, former US Open champion. And here he is playing Oliver Szolnoki of Hungary, who's won both of his matches so far. One of those players who really took a big step forward in 2021 in terms of his reputation on the international scene. Shaw won earlier against Kelly Fisher, 5 racks to 1. Szolnoki had 2 matches against Omar Al-Shaheen and Max Lechner and won them both. And Shaw with ball in hand here in this opening rack. I think we're going to see a big recovery from him in 2022. I think he was focused on other things for a lot of last year. Had a fairly quiet year apart from the Mosconi Cup. But I expect we're going to see Jason Shaw at the business end of a lot of events this year. Seems to have got that focus back. So back here on table 1, can Woodward draw level?
Oh, he had a shot on the 1 ball there. He could have potted the 1 ball in the left centre. That's what it looked like was going to be set up after the break, and the green 6 come down and just nudged it out of the way. And now he's no pot.
Yeah, and he's got to be careful here.
Push up cold.
He lets Kazakis in the way they're sitting. Could be all over.
Alex, it's your choice.
Nice push out there, tying the 2 ball up onto the 8. Just gives you a little bit of insurance. And what that would mean is there's no real value in Kazakis playing the bank shot up into the pocket where the red 3 is. That is a huge pocket. You wouldn't miss that bank shot, but what would you play on the 2? So that's the problem. Well, it looks like he can thin this in, actually. Is he going to try and chop this ball in the corner? No, he's not. He's playing safe. Needs cue ball to slow down, though. Yeah, he was trying to get the hook, but Kazakis will also know that the 2 ball is the big problem in this rack. So even if you pot this ball, unless you can get the cue ball all the way up table for a bank into the side, I don't know what you can do.
Yeah, well, that too, where it is, we could see a spell of cat and mouse here.
Yeah, we're trying to get the cue ball in behind the 7, but for a moment, he'd have been looking at that centre pocket, praying that the 1 don't disappear. Alex has got the short stick out, so he's going airborne. He might even try and pot this in the top right, because then at least the cue ball is staying up towards the top end of the table for a possible bank. The worst case, well, that was lovely. Well controlled indeed.
Where the cue ball's finished, do you reckon he'll fancy the bank from here?
Looks a little bit low. I think to play the bank in the centre pocket, you need to be on the other side of that white line, the kitchen line.
Call.
But the safety doesn't look easy. And that's the face of a man that knows that. Whenever you're playing safety, you're always trying to get the object ball safe as well. So he couldn't really just play off the right-hand side of this, because he'd move the 8 ball away, and obviously where the cue ball would be coming down here, you're going to leave a pot. So he might be forced into the bank, but it's a horrible bank. It's quite thin. He's playing against the shot clock as well. He's got to watch he doesn't scratch in the top right pocket. And all because of this, he's missed it. And I think he's left it. Was trying to avoid the 7 ball there to get the cue ball back out into the centre. If this does pot, it's thin, which means controlling the cue ball to get on your next ball is going to be nasty.
10 seconds.
Oh, and this could be very, very expensive
Oh,
indeed. Ball in hand, look where they're sitting.
Falling.
And just underlines what you were saying, Carl, about how thin it was. And attempting the pot, there was always going to be the risk of this happening.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day. Of course, you can see players missing the pot, but it's not often you see them miss the ball.
It's been a fairly accomplished performance from Kazakis, and with that in mind, it would be a big surprise if he didn't finish it out here. And that would leave Woodward with 2 defeats from 2, going into his 1 remaining match today against Mieszko Fortunski. They'll be coming up second last on this table. Busy night for Kazakis. He's still got Max Lechner and Shane Van Boning to play. So Kazakis led 3-1. Woodward did pull it back, but the scratch off the break in rack 6 was expensive. That made it 4-2. Kazakis then potted 4 balls off the break in the next rack, but scratched, and that was costly as well. That got it back to 4-3. But Woodward has handed Kazakis the opportunity here. And really, from where he was, you always had to fancy that was going